Okay, folks, this one's really tiny. I don't know how this is going to look. It's going to look any good or if it's going to look like a piece of shit. Let's see if we can make this tiny piece come up a treat somehow, folks. Okay, let's see what this piece is, this tiny thing. A little piece of what appears to be some kind of chrome plated plastic material, something or other. Just going to put it on the glass like so. Some happy music next door, a bunch of people working on neighbour's roof, as in the neighbours in the street, not down here. So they're out the window there, and there's some work scaffolding up. So yeah, it's been going on for weeks, this work on the roof, on someone's roof. Some rich person in there having their roof replaced and fixed. I don't know what's wrong with their roof. They had a whole bunch of slate tiles removed and then replaced. Anyway, that's come up interesting. That's really interesting how that looks. It looks better than I thought. Still could look better. I don't know. Going to make it into an interesting piece. Wonder if I can turn it around and make it look better that way. See if turning it this way might make it work better. So I'm just going to drop this down again to the piece. Yeah, that looks interesting. I don't know which version I like better. There's more reflection here, but I like the reflection to be there. I do wonder which version we're going to work with. We're going to work with this version, perhaps. Looks a bit dark. Yeah. Going to remove the black and see what happens. The old saying, see what happens. I'm going to darken it a bit or a lot. See if it looks any good without the black. It's the experimentation, folks. It's always good to experiment at least from time to time to get something different, to get something groundbreaking potentially. I do think this looks a bit flat without the black. I think this looks better natural. I do wonder if maybe this is the one we're going to utilise. It's a tough one to choose. I'm going to utilise that. I'm going to just move that off, get rid of it. yeah, chrome-plated plastic. I don't like it normally. It's an awful material that's often used as a compromise, like a money-saving piece. Like when you buy something, it often comes with chrome-plated plastic, which looks really ugly, and it just comes off. You know, the chrome comes off, as you can see, and reveals that it's not fucking metal. It's a fucking piece of dumbass compromise thing called plastic. And plastic is normally used as a cheap compromise material. You know, make no mistake, folks. Plastic is typically a compromise material, cheap and nasty, easy to make. Cheap to make, and basically it's a real money spinning material. It's just there to make things cheaper, increase the profit margin. It's nothing worse than buying a pair of shoes that have pieces that look like metal, but then on closer inspection you find out it's just this white plastic chromed plastic, and it really looks ugly. It's an ugly kind of material, and basically, yeah, I just don't like it. I think we can stretch it further, but we haven't got any more enlargement, so I'm going to have to use this as our master copy. But I'm making good use of a piece of it anyway for this demo. I do think I could have pushed it back further. I think I will. I think I shouldn't have enlarged it too much, because this is the corner and I should have pushed it further back. So I'm going to push it further back a bit, overlap. I was meant to overlap it here, and I'm just trying to make this look good. So I'm just going to overlap it more, and I'm going to go back to 400%. But yeah, that's a material that I don't like, is this chrome-plated plastic. And one of the things I want to do one day when I become CEO of a future photocopier company is that I make sure that none of this chrome-plated plastic gets in anywhere in the design of this equipment. Everything that's metal, that's meant to be metal, is to be made from metal, not plastic. Not the dumbass material called plastic. Especially chrome-plated plastic, which I hate the most. And everything's going to be made. The only place plastic will have in this equipment is where plastic is only able to go. So if you can use metal or ceramic or glass, well, basically plastic has no fucking place. But if you can't use ceramic, glass or metal, well, basically then that's when you use plastic, where there's nowhere else, no other choice, folks. It's not something you choose to put in there to save money. I'm not interested in creating a larger than necessary profit margin. Yes, we've got to have a profit. We've got to turn a profit. It's a business, but we've got to make it a business. And even more importantly, we've got to use recycled materials, including plastics, whatever plastics are needed, like for the plugs and the sockets and shit like that. And I've moved this too far across. But basically, I'm not interested in using excessive amounts of plastic. So basically, yeah, I refuse to ruin the integrity. Plastic is easy broken, and it looks ugly compared with the beauty of materials such as metal or ceramic. or any of those sorts of hard-wearing, scratch-resistant materials. And I'm just not interested in compromise. It's not going to be a perfect machine. It's not going to be 100% out of 100, but I'm aiming for 98% out of 100. I'm aiming to really shoot for the stars when it comes to designing this equipment. I'm not interested in just turning a heavy... Yes, it's going to make a lot of money, folks. You can still make a lot of money when doing the right thing, and it's good for the environment. You know, like metal and plastic is a material that can be more toxic. So, you know, basically glass is something, yeah, it's nicer to drink out of a glass. What am I talking about drinking glasses? Now I'm starting to talk through my ass. I'm not perfect, folks. Sometimes I say stupid things. I get caught up, a bit tongue-tied. Sorry, folks. But basically, yeah, you've got to... I much prefer to have everything made. Even the external panels are going to be made out of aluminium. So, you know, I really love all these metals and these glass and this, and I really hate plastic. So, and I'm trying to I want to do what I think is the right thing, and that is to eliminate as much plastic as possible from the actual design. So yeah, that's my desire. One of my desires when I'm designing is to design something that I would find attractive, and I'm sure other people would find it attractive too. That they'll be glad to see less plastic and less flimsiness. That's another thing about plastic. It's flimsy, it breaks. And also it's highly combustible. So if you have an office fire, a fire in the building and your photocopier is there, if it's made mostly out of metal, it's not going to erupt into a fucking fireball. And basically, yeah, it's going to be safer in the office if there is a fire, and yeah, and you don't have to test and when you're building the equipment, when you're designing the photocopier, you know, I'm pretty sure they do flammability tests, and you know, why would you want to do that? It's highly toxic. Burning plastic is deadly. It's a deadly thing. You know, and if you can build a photocopier that doesn't need to be torched to work out how it's going to behave in an office fire, well, that's a bonus. You know, and also those flame retardants can be highly toxic. So if you don't need flame retardants, that's another thing to consider, because that's why they test for flammability. You know, because they have to use flame retardants to control the flammability, and these things I think they're called brominated flame retardants. They're extremely dangerous. They're extremely toxic, and they, you know, and that's what I was thinking. Was I thinking? Whatever. That's one of the reasons why plastic is so toxic, or can be so toxic. That looks interesting. I think we can do maybe switcheroo, but basically you've got to think logically. If you can eliminate some of the if you eliminate flammability testing, I don't even like the look of burnt plastic, folks. I actually have a phobia to do with burnt plastic or burning plastics. Burning plastics, especially in the shape of a photocopier, really scares the shit out of me, folks. I'll just let you in on that secret. It really does. I have a real aversion. That's one of the reasons I think why I hate plastic so much is the realisation is that it can burn, and when it burns furiously, and it looks ghastly. All that melting, all that sizzling, it really frightens me. It's ugly. It's like a horror movie to me. It's worse than a horror movie, folks. I just can't stand it. So that's why I've got this deep-seated dislike, hatred for plastic. And that's come up looking even better. I think we can now call this demo quits.